Welcome to the Public Speaking Horror Show, the podcast where stage fright meets storytelling and fumbled lines become unforgettable lessons. I am your host, Laura Reid. If you're enjoying all these episodes, you know what to do so you never miss one. And if you've ever frozen, fumbled, or full on like face planted with a mic in your hand, you are not alone. Now, today's guest, you're in for a treat. She is living proof that dreams don't have deadlines, and the word inconceivable is just a dare in disguise. She is an artist, an actor, an island mama, and the very definition of a multi-passionate creative. Born into a family that blended the arts and media, from her model actress mom to her radio TV dad, she grew up in a house of 6 siblings where big dreams were encouraged and creative messes were welcome. She's been married 35 years to her college sweetheart. It's so cool. A fellow actor and reformed radio DJ. She's raised 3 amazing kids on the island of Oahu and still finds time to run her own business, As You Wish Arts, named after the most romantic line in The Princess Bride and an ode to love, whimsy, and doing life your way. Her artwork is inspired by the beaches and hikes of her Hawaiian island home, and her pieces have found homes in the shops across the North Shore and online. She's now added children's book illustrator to her already epic resume. I am so thrilled. Oh, I've got other things on her bio, but you know what? We're going to talk about them anyway. But she's been on like over 30 feature films and TV shows, including Hawaii Five-0, Magnum PI, and a special agent on all 3 seasons of NCIS Hawaii. That is so cool. She's also the president of the Hawaii SAG AFTRA union, wrapping up her 2nd term this September. So cool. So I am extremely excited to welcome Andy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. I don't need to talk after that. Stage fright can just take over.
Oh no, it's so good. We're so happy to have you. Andy Sikkink is just, someone I've admired for so long. Being in a group with her, kind of like a networking group where we met every week, and I got to see her. We've actually never met in person though, so that day is coming soon. But I've admired not only her artwork, but also her energy, and I'm kind of in awe that she's been an actor too. But you know how this all starts out. We start with the Killer 13 rapid fire questions. Andy, are you willing
The Deadly
to play?
13, yes. Bring it on.
Yes, we're ready. Okay, here we go. Number 1, what's scarier, a live audience or a live camera?
Live camera. Because I've been on set with a live camera that gets everything.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk more about that. Right. Number 2, if your life had a movie title, what would it be?
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable. Yes, I see it. And you have to get your book out
I
there
know.
too with that. I love it. All right. I see all kinds of cool things behind you. You got a surfboard and all, some cool signs and some artwork. What's the weirdest thing in your art studio right now?
Some charcoal sketches of ghosts.
Yes, those are my favorite. Andy does these amazing kind of spooky series around Halloween, and that's when I think I truly fell in love with your work. I was like, yeah, because you come off as like just you're such a and you're such a positive, radiant person filled with a lot of good energy, and then this dark side came
It was
out.
dancing
I was like,
bats and
oh,
skeletons.
it was so good. It's very like Edward Gorey kind of ish. And that's why it reminded me of so
Yep.
good. So I love that side of you too, and the contrast that it brings. So good. So I'm not an actor, but sometimes maybe, I mean, I was in a couple plays in high school, and I think sometimes, I still get these nightmares where I'm about to walk on stage in a play and I have no idea what the play's about or what my lines are or any of that. Like, I get those nightmares even though I'm not an actor.
Yes.
Like, do you get any kind of nightmares like that? And if so, what are they?
Definitely. I mean, that's a real one. I've missed every rehearsal,
Yeah.
and I have this big
Oh,
speaking part,
yeah.
and I'm part of the main cast, and they're all like, "What the heck?" It's the ultimate stage fright, right? And the times where I really have filmed with like big directors, it is it's a real fear. It's a real fear that you're just gonna, it's all gonna leave your brain instantly. And that's why I am so in awe of you, because you help people to get over that fear and realize their brain has it. They just have to let it out.
Yeah, the fear is real. I mean, and we'll dive deeper into that too after these questions, but um yeah, sometimes it's about like my new thing is probably having more of a dialogue with fear because it doesn't really go away. There's no like overcoming it. It's still going to creep up. But I think the more we learn to friend it and face
Yep,
it, then the easier it gets, right? For those moments. And I mean, we can't control the nightmares, but we can control like our real awaking moments,
yep,
right? Unless this is all a
yep.
dream. That's a whole nother podcast. All right. All right. Number five. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh gosh, nobody wants to hear me do that. I actually, surprisingly, I was in choir and I played instruments as a child, and then that ability just kind of went away. Um, if I'll tell you a funny story that fits with this. When I was a kid, there was a singing group that was kind of like the Von Trapp family, and they would come to the local park.
Mm.
And I was cute with little Shirley Temple curls, so they'd pull me up on stage, and then I'd want to sing something amazing, like I'd have a Barbara Streisand or something in my head, and out would come Catalina Madalena. Catalina Madalena, Rupensteiner, Wallendiner, Hogan, Mogan, Logan, what's her name? And every time, and my mom would just sit in the audience and laugh, and everyone would get going because it was a goofy song. But yeah, I guess that'd be my go-to.
Oh, I would love that. Would be epic. Everybody would be like, "What's happening right now?" Like, it would be
And then it's like a song you'll never
so-
forget once you've learned it, like John Jacob
Yeah,
Jingleheimer Schmidt. I
yeah.
mean, if you learned it, you know
Oh,
it.
wow. That I haven't heard that since I was that brings back memories. Wow. All right. Number six. Was there an actor that you're also a huge fan of that you got to work with and you were kind of like
Yes.
in awe and it was kind of hard
Yes.
because of
Can
that?
I do two? Okay. I got to work with Levar Burton, who my kids watched on Reading Rainbow, who I watched on Star Trek The
Oh,
Next Generation. He played this really cool Geordie
oh, okay.
character. So he came
Oh,
and directed
yeah.
episodes of NCIS Hawaii. And so I literally
Oh,
got to have
wow.
sidebar conversations while we're waiting for everything to be set up, and I'd be standing there and he would talk to me. And it was just like, am I dreaming? Like, how could this be? And then
Oh, I love
I've
it.
always admired LL Cool J. And you look at me and you go, oh, yeah, sure, she listens to rap music. But I really, he has this whole thing like dreams don't have deadlines that has always literally stuck in my head as one of his things. So, second season of NCIS Hawaii, he comes on as a guest star. And they tell us all, don't talk to him. Leave him alone. People fangirl over him. Don't talk to him. So I was being a good girl. I'm off in the corner with my friend Marie, who you'll get a chance to meet soon. And Marie and I are standing waiting for the scene to begin. And he comes over, hey, I'm Todd. And we're like, oh, that's why they had Todd Smith on the call sheet. That's what he goes by when he's on
Oh,
set.
wow.
It's Todd Smith. Todd. So he's like, hey, I'm Todd. Yeah. And it was just like,
That's
that was my most
crazy.
fangirl moment ever. I'm not sure I said actual words. Marie was kind of poking at me like, you're fine, you're fine. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And then we got to work with him all of season 3. He became a regular guest star.
That is
Yeah.
epic.
So he was totally cool. He was the coolest guy. He played his music on set. And he always knew his
Oh,
lines. He
man.
always knew his lines, unlike, I won't even mention some of the other people that didn't. But
Oh, you may have to dish later, but yeah, That is such a that must be so fun.
Yeah,
Just
I just need to write some of those down. Yeah, it's just a killer, especially when you're so used to, that whole thing of like, don't talk to them, don't make eye contact. If they talk to you, you can talk to them. And then, yeah, and then when they're just like a human, just a nice, really nice person. Yeah.
yeah. That's so good. I love it. Okay, number 7. You've painted pet portraits. I've seen large murals, and the awesome spooky Halloween inspired art. Do you have a favorite?
Um, I think pet portraits. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I cannot really explain how I fell into that. But I had my
Mm.
sister-in-law had asked me way back when to paint a pet who had passed away, and I was like, I had known this dog forever, so it just came. It just like onto the canvas, like the
Mm.
perfect little Daisy dog, and yeah. And then from there, somebody told somebody, and somebody told somebody, and all of a sudden, I'm mostly painting dogs. I've painted cats, birds, fish. But
Oh,
yeah, the dog portraits just because people love their pets and it makes them so happy
yeah.
when they open it up and when I can really customize it. If it's one that's passed, then I put a rainbow bridge in there, and kind of some of their favorite toys. And
Yeah.
if it's one that's alive, I've done as many. I think I did 4 in one portrait. And I love
Oh,
to make it fun. So.
that's so special. Well, my favorite is still the spooky stuff with charcoal, but I
Yeah.
get it. That's really special for people to always
Yeah.
cherish. Number 8, favorite Princess Bride quote other than "As you wish."
Inconceivable. I don't think you know what that means.
Yeah. So good.
Yep.
I love it. You got me wanting to rewatch that movie now. Maybe, yeah, maybe this weekend. Number 9, what's your dream acting role, like real or
Hmm.
imagined?
Well, my mom wrote 2 books, and I would love to make those books come to life and then play my mom.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that would be amazing.
Oh, your mom.
Yes.
Wow. I love that. That is so
Yep.
special. Uh, would you rather be remembered for a famous role or a role you played, or for a piece of art you
Oh
created?
gosh. Definitely a piece of art.
Yeah.
Definitely a piece of art. I've
The
walked around the
art.
Smithsonian so many times
Oh,
and you see artists from the 1500s, 1600s and you go,
yeah.
"Wow, like we still have this." So yes, I think that would be cool.
Yeah. Art does have a way of really living on,
Yeah.
like my dad passed a while ago now, but he was an artist and I have his
Ah,
art, and every once in a while he has a lot of art up in like random hotels in New York because that's where he lived, and he'd do like trades with restaurants for getting to eat there for free for
awesome.
like the rest of his life, that kind of stuff. And people will still like take a photo of it and send me like, "Oh, I just saw
Oh,
your
I want
dad's
to see
painting." And
him.
it's
That's
it's kinda
so
cool how
cool.
that does live on in a special way.
Yes.
There's something about
Yeah.
it. I totally
I
get
think
that.
I felt like the most like wow moment when somebody showed me one of my paintings was up for sale on eBay and I was like, oh, I'm embarrassed about that painting. I wish it wasn't for sale on eBay. But it was one of my really,
D
really early ones from like the 80s or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Someone sent me, like, some of my one of my books, I think it's for sale on eBay, which is so weird to me. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. But I did feel like a little bit of like,
Yeah.
"Oh, like I've made it some
Yeah,
like in
I
this really small
know.
way." All right, number 11. What's your biggest creative fear?
uh, I I think it's just like losing that passion. I've had people say, "Oh, you're going to run out of
Mm,
ideas to paint. You're going to get tired of it. It's just something you can't do forever." But yeah, I would hate to lose the passion or have the inability, like due to arthritis or something, to not be able to get that out there.
mm,
That's a real honest fear. Like even if nobody ever saw it, if it never went viral, if it never, if I did a spectacular painting, but it hurt so bad to do it and I could never do another one, I don't know. That would be tough.
oh. Yeah. It's so hard, I would think too, as like if your mind still is there and like you really want to
Yeah.
create, but you're not able to. But I think there's always ways.
Yes.
There's always ways to create. Like I'm thinking of that. Remember the movie My Left
Hmm.
Foot? and he was a painter with his left foot. That was all, and he created these
Yes.
beautiful
Yes.
things. So I feel like there's always a way, but if it became painful, that would be
I
really hard.
know. I
Okay,
know.
number 12. Do you have a go-to ritual for before the director yells action to kind of just get you in the mode of that
Oh,
character?
that's great. I love that. Yeah, so I've
Mm.
worked with some really big directors, and I've had the pleasure of them saying that you make it real. So one of the Hawaii Five O's, I hadn't been doing it forever, but I'd been doing it for quite a few years. And Peter Weller was directing. And everybody's afraid of Dr. Weller
Wow.
because Dr. Weller's a hard nose. He was RoboCop, but he is a hard nosed director. And this lady was sashaying across the pool and walking all like sexy. And he goes, out. And he kicks the lady out who had gotten the part. And he goes, her. And he points to me. She walks with purpose. And I was like, but that's
Oh,
always what I try to
wow.
do is like it has to feel real. I wouldn't walk across the pool like I'm in a, fashion show or something. So I walk across and they go,
Yeah.
that's it, print it, move on, you know? and and so that's always been in the back of my mind. So in NCIS, I'm a background agent. Here's LL Cool J and Vanessa Lachey, and they're all doing their stuff. And I am back there, I am making copies. And then I have to run a folder and hand it off to one of them. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble because it's taking me so long to make this fax come out. And it literally feels real. So then when they get done, I remember exactly where I were, what they were saying, and I do it exactly the same again on the next take. So my go to is
Mm.
if this was my real job, how do I do it and not get in trouble? Whatever I'm doing, if I'm being a
Yeah.
cop, if I'm making copies, if I'm walking across the pool, it's like if this was actually what I need to be doing right now, and I get myself in that mode of this is my job and I am going to do a good job of it. And I forget about the
Mm.
cameras. I forget about everything else. I've tripped over a cord doing that because you just like it starts to
I
feel real.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that make it real. I think that can be used, in so many different ways too, because sometimes it's not about what you're doing, it's really who you are
Yeah.
being. So even like in real life, it's like, okay, if I want to be a best-selling author, like what would a best-selling author be doing and how can I make that
Yes,
real,
yeah,
right? I
live
wouldn't
it
be
till
just thinking
you
about it,
live it till
right?
you
And
have
then
it kind of thing. Exactly. And it's a good
yeah.
way to not get
Yeah.
butterflies about it because like if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not going to wreck the take. I'm not going to upstage the main actors, or if I'm the main actor, I'm not going to, say something different. I'm going to say what I needed to say, right? So it does help me to get in that
Yeah.
frame of thinking. Yeah.
I love it. So, okay, last question. You just about made it here. Number 13. What's your biggest wish?
Oof. I would love to just get other people to follow their dreams. I don't know how to go about that. I think
Mm.
yeah, like you're a motivational speaker and you're also a coach, and maybe that's eventually going to be my life purpose. Like while I'm painting, it's encouraging others to paint, and social media will probably allow me to do that. I don't need to be Bob Ross because he was Bob Ross, but I would love to be able to encourage others to be themselves and tackle something. If it's painting they want to do, if it's acting they want to do, if it's writing or
Mm.
whatever. So kind of a motivator person, but not necessarily on the circuit of a motivational speaking, just being that, I don't know, maybe a resource, maybe just like somebody that they can call and say, hey, I'm stuck, what do I do?
I love that your biggest wish is helping other people achieve their creative wish. That's so beautiful. And yeah, that just shows your heart, and yeah, I could see you totally maybe like a creativity coach,
Yeah,
in some way,
yeah,
like helping people achieve that, because we're all here to
yeah,
create. We all have the ability, and so much of what we can create can just change other people's
right,
lives, and our
right.
own. So
Yeah, and
that's
just
yeah,
not
that's
being
so beautiful.
afraid. Yeah, being like you've taught people to not be afraid to speak their truth, and maybe they don't want to paint, but maybe I inspire them in some other way, by stepping into the acting world or doing something out of the box that they haven't done.
I love it. I've always secretly wanted to be an actor, so we'll have to talk
Here
at
we
some
go.
point. But I just want a small, just a small step out, step on roll. I'll trip over, I'll make copies.
See, and that's the thing. Once it bites you, it's like Hawaii. Once you've been to Hawaii, it's part of your family. Once you've been on set and you've had a good time, you like literally feed off of it. It's addictive.
Yeah, I bet. I bet it'd be so, so, so much fun. Well, you survived the Killer 13.
Thank you.
Congratulations. But that was when the fun really begins. I want to just deep dive like straight in. If you can share with us, your story, like your journey to being like where you are, and I'd love to hear maybe there was a moment you can share with us where things just really didn't go as planned, but you learned from it. There was some kind of takeaway, whether it was on set or in life. We'd love to learn from you in that way.
Oh my goodness. Well, I already shared my singing Catalina Madalena in a panic
Yeah,
multiple
that's a
times.
good one. Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
I think as an adult, I it probably doesn't looking at me now. I was a big athlete, and that was the way I hid the art side of me. So a lot of my friends, unless they came over to my house, never saw the paintings lining all over. I mean, nobody did oil painting. It wasn't a thing. So I kind of hid all that, and I did sports, and I had a running scholarship, had a couple of them, and I got injured my freshman year, so they kind of what they call redshirt you, and I was afraid of losing money for school. I'm paying for it myself. I'm the youngest of six kids. Mom and dad aren't paying for school, and I'm not doing so great in my grades because all the training takes up all my time. But when I got redshirted, they were like, "You're just gonna go to physical therapy, and you're gonna get better, and then you're gonna go out there and win races again." And that little bit of time, like, what is my purpose? Is my purpose just to run around a track forever? I mean, it was like, yes, it's a means to an end to get the education, but that was sort of my reset. And so while it was a disappointment to realize that I wasn't going to be this great Olympic runner, it was also sort of like I could do it, but I don't want to do it anymore. And so that pivot, I would credit with me, like I had already met my future husband, but I wasn't, necessarily serious about him yet. It's just like all of a sudden everything kind of came into focus of like, hey, why am I doing this? Why am I trying so hard to recover just to run so hard that I hurt myself again? And I think a lot of pro athletes have that moment when they get hurt and when they face that huge obstacle or they get traded off the team or whatever. I think your husband probably knows about this because he's a coach, right? But it's also so important that like I had the family there to go, it's okay. Maybe that's not going to be you going forward. You thought you'd be this big college athlete and maybe a professional runner, but actually you had all this other stuff that you neglected because of it. And so then I did more painting and I did way better in school, ended up graduating with a 4.0. And when you're at the bottom of the bottom as a freshman, to get back up to a 4.0 is hard, hard work. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I love that story because it shows how important a pause in your life can be. And even when it feels like a disappointment, something unexpected, there's things that could come out of it that we just don't know they're going to be gifts yet because it feels like it's absolutely not a gift, right? Something's been taken away from us. But then in hindsight, we realize often, I've heard that so often, what a gift it really was. I mean, even the pandemic, when the whole world was pausing in so many ways. I hear so many stories about how that was just this pivotal moment because I got this break to really think about, okay, what do I really want to do? Maybe I don't want to go back to this job or, whatever it is, right? So what got you into wanting to be like, how did you know you wanted to be an actor? And were there do you have any tales of that particular thing, like either going sideways or some tips like that help you just not get nerves and oh, and it might be really helpful too is I was always wanted to ask you this before because I'm always trying to help my clients learn their speech, but also keep it authentic. So not memorize and recite, but really feel the words. And I imagine it's like that with acting too. It's like you have to learn word for word for that. But do you have any strategies to do that, but also keep that authenticity? So that was like 3
That's
questions, but
amazing.
you can go.
Okay, so we'll bite off the first part. I didn't actually think I would become a professional actor. I just enjoyed like community theater.
Mm.
My mom had acted with her whole family in the community theater, the Old Log Theater in Minneapolis, and then she got a job at the radio station as a copywriter. And then she met my dad, who was a copywriter. So it's sort of in my blood. Like we weren't afraid to necessarily be pulled up on stage. It's just when everyone's looking at you, you sing Catalina Madalena because you can't think of anything else. But I had done like plays in school. And I remember really wanting to be Annie. They did a nationwide search for Annie.
Oh,
And we had
yeah.
put the play on at my school. So
Oh.
I was the understudy. I knew every song. And I remember just haunting my mom, walking around the house, singing, 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 singing. And they're saying on the TV, they're going to have these tryouts. And I'm like begging her. She didn't like to drive. And I'm begging her, please drive me into
Oh.
Minneapolis. And then she just kind of sat me down and she said, I don't want to be a stage mom. And I don't want to have that relationship with you. I want this to be fun for you.
Mm.
She had an older sister who was kind of her stage mom, who had done vaudeville. I think she was 15 years
Mm.
older. And so she had driven my mom into ballet lessons and modeling and all this stuff. And my mom was super shy, like
Mm.
I had been. And she just said, I want it to keep being fun. And if you got this, it wouldn't be fun anymore. You wouldn't like it. So it was always like I would do stuff that I knew wasn't a long-term commitment. But then I got out here
Yeah.
and all these shows are running and we had done some modeling as a family. That's easy. That's a day or two and you're done. And I remember thinking, do I want to make a long-term commitment to be a reoccurring police officer or be a reoccurring agent? But yeah, my kids were older, so I could really dig in and do it. And when that's your only focus, and that's what people forget, they see these really long lines that someone has to learn in a theater play. Well, in the theater play, once you've done it the first few times, you're never going to forget it. It is in your head for the rest of your
Yeah.
life. Like I can recite stuff from
Mm.
Rumpelstiltskin that I did in third grade. And I was
Wow.
Rumpelstiltskin, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
But I can still
Yeah.
have, the songs from Annie are still in my head. Like once you do something in theater, it's a lot of times. In television, it's a faster pace, and especially like soap operas. I don't think I'd ever attempt that because there's so much dialogue that you have to know and be
Mm.
off book, and
Yeah.
then you spew it out, and then you might do one more scene or two more scenes or seven scenes that day, and you have to know them all, and you have to understand what your character's going through. So that's huge. I think I like it, but what we don't realize is that those actors, that's all they're doing. They go back to their trailer. They're working on their lines. They sit waiting for the scene to
Mm.
get set up. They're tossing it back and forth like a ball. I've watched them, and they're practicing that line back and forth with each other. So when I was in the green room
Mm.
for Hawaii Five-0 and I'm playing a Russian spy, I had worked with all these people as a cop. And so they're wanting to chit chat about how's this feel to be here. And I'm like, can we just practice? Like, can we just like do the lines so I don't forget them? And but what's great about it is you get a rehearsal. So they take you to where you're actually doing the scene. They've already had your stand-in practice it. They show you where you're gonna walk. And at that moment it can start to feel really real. Like I'm in the basement of a Russian embassy.
Mm.
Here's my daughter, and now they've found me, and 5 is going to haul me out of here, and what's going to happen to my little daughter, who is my real daughter. So that was easy to pretend. um,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so cool.
And she had tried out and got that all on her own. I didn't think we were going to get cast together.
Wow.
So at that moment, once they show you, you can forget about the camera angles or whatever, because you already in your mind, you've made this scene real in your head of like, I've got to tell her it's going to be okay. And I will explain later. She didn't even know I was from Russia. I don't know how. That's the magic of TV. She didn't know I was a Russian spy. Yeah, she's 13.
That's how good a spy you were.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But also in the back of my mind, I'm thinking while I'm doing it, but they just saw me. If anyone was paying attention and slows it down, they just saw me as a cop arresting somebody in the previous episodes. So in my mind, I'm like, well, this makes sense now, because here I was in hiding, right in plain sight. And now they have to deal with me. And I managed to evade them until the very end of the episode. So I felt like, okay, if they kill me off, no big deal. But then they ended up just arresting me. And then my daughter started an online campaign of hashtag save Monica Shore, save my mom. It was great. She was trying to get us brought back on
So
for another
cute.
episode. I escape or something. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Was there a favorite role that you've had? Because I know I've heard you say you've like arrested a lot of people. It sounds like you've been a spy. I don't know if there's something going on here
Uh,
with your like typecast
um,
as like,
yeah,
you
I
know.
think my favorite role was just sort of a semi background on Wrong Missy, which was directed by Adam Sandler and another director. So it had all his comedian friends, Lauren Germain, David Spade, and just to become part of that energy of them, just the comedy. And I said to my husband, maybe I was meant to do comedy. And he's like, comedy's hard. I said, no, I just lived it for 2 months. Comedy is fun. Like, so yeah, I think that was a favorite role, even though I've had more important roles. I think that was a favorite one just because it was fun. And the director had this ranking thing. I'm not going to mention the director's name in case he ever watches this, but he had this ranking thing of swear words of how good it was. And when he got up to the big F, then we knew we were doing well.
Yeah.
Like your book.
Oh, I love it.
The
Yeah. It's
big
like, F
F
yeah.
word meant
Yeah.
we were slamming, and yeah, so it just got that energy. It was literally like playing like a kid, like when you'd play with your friend and let's imagine we're the Bionic Woman or something like that, or the Bionic Man. The $1 Million Man. I remember playing that as a kid. But yes, it when it feels like playing, that's when you know you're supposed to be doing it. And that one in particular, that comedy, working on that, we all became super good friends. And during our break times, instead of like, getting on our phones, we'd sit there and see who could still do a cartwheel. Just dumb stuff, right? But it was
I
fun.
love
Yeah.
it. I like, okay, I'm picturing you now doing cartwheels with Adam Sandler, and
Yes.
that's really awesome. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
are there any like misconceptions people have, or even yourself? Like, what was the biggest surprise about being on a set, a TV set, and what it's like?
I think the misconception is that it's easy, that it's easy, and I see how much work it is and how many people are involved, and that's part of just me getting involved in the union and contract negotiations and all these other parts. It's a job. It might seem like I remember watching models on TV and they'd be like, oh my God, it was such a long day modeling the swimsuit. And I'd think, oh my God, like, what are you talking about? I did modeling. It's hard. It's hard. You are so uncomfortable. They put you in poses that are so uncomfortable, or they expect you to know the pose that's comfortable. Um, it doesn't happen. It's hot. There's lights. You're getting wet. I mean, everything that could happen. And then you're starving. Like a lot of times I remember just going, this is a great weight loss plan being on set because I'm just starving. Can we finish this take, so I can go to Crafty and get a snack? Yeah, I think the biggest misconception is that it's easy. It's not easy. And while it can be very, very fun, it takes so many people. And I made it a point to get to know and thank everybody, from the guy who gave us a snack when we could finally eat, to the person coming with the sunscreen, to the person, you know, blotting your shiny face because you're making a glare way back in the background. I just made it feel like a family. And I think part of the reason the new Lilo and Stitch is so successful is that set was that way. That little girl Maya, her whole life is going to be different, and it all started because she got a part, when she was 5 or 6 years old, and her whole life is going to be different. But everybody there kept her safe like a family. It was just really cool.
Wait, were you on that set?
Just briefly, I didn't have
Really?
any
Oh,
speaking
that's
part or anything, so yeah.
oh, that's so cool to get to be there and witness
Yeah,
that, though. Now, you mentioned earlier that you were a shy
I
little
was.
girl. Like, if you could go back and tell that version of you, that little girl, one thing, like, what would you want her to know?
Oof. I think my daughter and I did that when we were in our trailer. We put on some music and danced around to Spice Girls When I Grow Up. This is before we even filmed, and we both went like, "Wow, I wish I could have told my sixth grade self that, those other mean girls, none of that mattered. Like, you are great. You are fantastic. Like, stop taking other people's opinions. Stop worrying about everybody you think that matters. That's what I would tell myself.
Mm. I love it. Your creativity and how you put yourself out there now is, so it's so beautiful. And yeah, that little girl might have thought it was inconceivable to,
Yes.
do what you're doing now. Is there any, main message or takeaway that you want to leave our listeners with, to if they're thinking about, oh, maybe I'm too old to go into acting, or it's, I'm not talented enough to create art. Do you have any words for
Yes, I
them?
do. Definitely, LL Cool J said it better than I can ever say it. The dreams don't have deadlines. Like, if there is something that you remember loving when you were a kid, you gotta take that time with your head and go, oh, that was so fun when me and my cousins did blank, or when me and my friend did blank, and then look at that. Because to me, when someone tells you you can't do that, that's what you should be looking at. It's kind of like when they ban a book. That's the one you want
Mm,
to read.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, like
Yeah.
literally when we went to move to Hawaii, people said that's impossible. You're never going to make it. It's so expensive. You'll never be able to afford to retire. Your kids are going to suffer. Everything's going to suffer. And that's where Inconceivable from Princess Bride came in. It's like, I don't think you know what that means. I think we can do even better than we could have done had we stayed where we were. If everybody had that attitude, would they ever have moved out of Europe, out of Africa? No. So we have to be willing to take that risk, and then also, like, yeah, just follow the dream. Follow, like, if someone tells you something's inconceivable, it's not that they care that much about you. They're more like they can't believe that you could accomplish it, and they're naysayers. They're in their mind trying to protect you from something, but that's exactly what you should go try to do then, because it's not nothing is impossible. If you can think of it, you can make it happen. And I honestly believe that, because I was told to, don't join the union, don't get involved in this production or that production. This is going to go horribly. Every time I was told no, and I tried it anyway, it ended up being fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Mm. I love that so much. I mean, the only person that really needs to believe is you, right? And no one else's opinions matter. And I find that so often when someone is negative about an idea or something you really want to do or pursue, sometimes it's just triggering something in their own fears, right? Like that they need to kind of express out on you. Like it's never really about you, it's about them and their journey. And that, but that doesn't matter for our lives really, right? Just we need to believe. And I love how you approach things too with the element of joy and fun. Like, it still could be fun even when things go wrong, even when something seems like a disappointment, you can find like a new avenue, and yeah, make those dreams happen. Where can our viewers and listeners find your artwork, which is amazing, and be able to work with you and follow you, all of those things? Tell us
So
about
I
that.
mostly use Instagram, and then I push it through to Facebook, and that is As You Wish Artist. That's the handle there. And then I have a website, As You Wish Arts. And then if they live on Oahu or come to Oahu, I have my paintings in a couple shops up on the North Shore, in Kahuku by Giovanni's Shrimp. There's a Route 99 container store. And they also have a kiosk by Matsumoto Shave Ice. So mention it food each time, and maybe people will end up getting there. Shave Ice and then Shrimp Truck. They can get to these places and find my art. Yeah, so I just encourage people, and maybe eventually I'll have a YouTube channel where I just do some tutorials and then offer people like advice or coaching or something. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to look.
Yeah. Well, if you're dreaming it, you can definitely do
There
it.
you
It's
go.
not inconceivable. And I can't wait. I can totally see you doing that. Thank you so, so much, Andy, for being on the show, for sharing your creativity and your heart and your stories with us. And yeah, some of your celebrity sightings and cartwheels with Andy or with, what's his name? Cartwheels with Adam Sandler and all of that. These, so, so, so
Yeah.
cool. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning into another episode of the Public Speaking Horror Show. Remember that, yeah, if you can conceive it, you can be it and you can dream it, and it's never, ever too late. The only person that ever has to believe is you. Thank you.
You.
Aloha,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Aloha.